Have you ever started up a project and thought, okay, this time I'm going to get really organized. I'm going to use Microsoft Project. I'm going to make a Gantt chart. I'm going to schedule all my work. I'm going to get those bars laid out on the schedule, and then something goes wrong. Maybe the bars don't cooperate with you. You try to move them, but they don't move quite the way you want them to. So maybe then you resort to just an old-fashioned printed calendar. That's happened to me many times. Well, during the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you some basic features of projects so that you can get simple projects done. And if you like what you see and you like the power of project, maybe you'll use it for more complex projects, or perhaps you'll be a project manager someday. I'm not a project manager, but I do use project to get simple projects done, so let me show you how I do that. I'm going to switch on over here to project, okay? And I'm going to double click this blank project icon here. Okay, here we are. This is a typical project, empty project file here. And I've been given the task of, or I've been given the project, I should say, of organizing the company party, okay, annual company party. One of the things you want to do before you start a project is sort of take stock of the work that needs to be done, okay? So I'm going to list out those tasks here. First thing we need to do is we probably need to brainstorm ideas or themes, right? And then we probably need to get those ideas and themes approved by the boss. So boss approves the ideas. And then after that, we probably need to draft a budget. And then after that, we need that boss to approve the budget. And then after that, that's sort of the end of the planning phase. And after that, we now get to do some hiring and renting of stuff. So maybe we need to rent an event space here, and hire a caterer, and then maybe rent some equipment like a PA system or some tables and chairs, or maybe a dunk tank, something like that. Okay? And then we actually need to set up the party and then actually hold the event, right? Okay. So we're just listing out tasks here. We're just taking stock of what needs to be done. Okay, and now we're going to put some duration estimates for each of these tasks in here, okay? So brainstorming ideas and themes, gosh, that probably will take, I don't know, a couple hours. So I'll put 2 hours, question mark there. You don't have to be real serious yet with your duration. You can put little notes and things in here, little estimates. Boss approves the ideas. Oh, he should be able to do that in 2 hours. Draft a budget. I'm pretty good with Excel. I think I could probably get that done in half a day. So I'll just type half a day there. Boss approves the budget. That's probably going to take him 2 hours, just like the other approval task. And then rent an event space. I'd say, gosh, I'll give myself 5 days for that. And then the same for these other ones here, hire a caterer and rent some equipment. I'll just fill those down. It's like Excel. There's some Excel-like features in there. Okay, fill those down so that you can repeat that 5-day duration. And then set up, 2 hours is fine, and hold the event, maybe 4 hours. Okay. And you'll notice over here on the right, some Gantt bars have formed, okay? We've got some duration bars over here showing you the amount of days that it would take over this linear calendar. Now, there's a temptation in project for people who are beginning users. They want to just get in here, they want to start moving these guys around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. My suggestion, the way that I do it is I do most of my work here on the left in this data sheet, in this grid over here, and then I just simply watch what happens over here. So I do stuff over here, I manipulate over here, and then I just watch the reaction of these bars. I'm not moving these things around a lot. So I'm going to undo that. Okay, undo those drags there. Okay, one of the best practices with a project, I suppose, is to not only estimate the time it's going to take, but also check with stakeholders to see, okay, is it realistic that brainstorming will take 2 hours? Is it realistic that the boss can approve something in 2 hours? So go ahead and ask your stakeholders, people involved, or people with past experience how long things took. So I asked folks how long the company meeting or the company party took last year, and they said, oh, it was about a day because we had to meet a couple times. We had to come up with a formal list for the boss. So you're going to want to allocate a day there. So I'll type 1 day for the brainstorm task. And then the boss approving the ideas. I talked with his admin assistant. She says 2 hours is way too fast. The boss has a ton of meetings. He's going to want to review that list of ideas and vet it. And he's got travel, so you're going to want to give him at least 2 days. All right. Draft a budget. I spoke with my friend Ed Steidel. He says he's in finance. He's like, no. You're gonna need to at least allocate a full day to that. I don't want you, making some crazy budget that's not realistic. So give yourself time for that one. And then again, the boss needs 2 days for approving anything. Now, I spoke with an event planner, and they said, yeah, renting an event space takes a lot more than 5 days. You've got to have at least almost 3 weeks of lead time because they're not always available right away, and you need paperwork to be signed back and forth. So she recommended 15 days or 3 working weeks there. And then again, I'll do that fill down because that's probably the same for the caterer and the rental equipment. It's probably a little less for the equipment, but might as well just give it the same one for the purposes of this demo. And then set up the party. The event planner recommended a day for the large scale party that we're doing, and then the actual day, she said, yeah, allow for the actual party to happen over a day as well. So now you see we've got some big bars over here, and the project's starting to take shape. Again, resist the temptation to be over here on the right. Okay, and now we're kind of ready to formally schedule things. Okay, and what I do then is I switch on over the task mode for each of the tasks to auto-scheduled. And this allows project to, use project scheduling engine to scatter these across time in a organized fashion. You'll notice the bar changes from like a turquoise to a blue, and that's also a sort of a signal that, okay, you're serious. We're going to start scheduling things. So I'm going to fill down that task mode down here too, so that all the tasks have that auto-scheduled mode. All right. And now it's time to order these in the right order. Okay. Put them in the right sequence. They're all starting on today, and that's July 18th. You can see here. That's not realistic. We need to sequence them across here. So the way you do that is you do that with this link button up here. Okay. It's a small little button, but it's actually pretty. It's probably one of the most common things you do in projects is you use this button quite a bit. So what you do is you select tasks in the sequence that you want to link them. So what I mean by that is first you brainstorm ideas. So you select that task. You hold down the control key, and then the boss approves the ideas, right? First you brainstorm, then you approve. Before, after. And then you link them, okay? And what happens is, look over here on the right here. So what happened over here on the right is that you've got the brainstorm task happening on the 18th, and then the boss approves it after that task on the 19th and 20th. Okay? This is a linear calendar here. And it's not your grid calendar or your Julian calendar. It's a linear one that goes across from left to right. Okay? So we've got this dependency. This task here can't happen unless we brainstorm first, right? So that's what's happening there. We'll do the same thing here. We first have to have the boss approve the ideas before we draft a budget. So we link those together. Okay? And you can see what's happening here. We're sort of expanding this project in this timeline. Where if we started today on the 18th here, then we would be done on the 21st over here. Okay? All right, we'll just keep on going here. We've got to draft the budget before the boss approves the budget. So we link that guy there. And you can see our project's growing over here. Now we're ending over here. Okay? And we're ending on the 25th of June. Okay, and then these next three are kind of tricky, but just pay careful attention to what I'm doing here. I think you'll get it. First, you have to have the boss approve the budget before you rent the space, so you link those. And that pushes the project out quite a bit now. Now we can realistically see how long this thing's going to take. And these three things can happen in simultaneously in parallel, right? You can rent the event space, you can hire the caterer, you can rent the equipment all together. You don't have to have those done before the other, typically. So what we're going to do is do that same linking. We need the boss to approve the budget before we hire that caterer. We link. We need the boss to approve the budget before we rent the equipment, and we link. All right, and then we kind of do the reverse. You know, you need to rent the event space before you set up the party, and we'll link that guy. You need to rent the event space or you need to hire the caterer before you set up the party, and you link that guy. And then you need to rent the equipment before you set up the party. Okay, and I don't know if you saw that, but very subtly, little arrows were added over here on the right to link this to this task here. Okay. And then you set up the party, of course, to hold the event. You link that together, and there you go. You've got this realistic timeline for your project. And if you were to start on today, which is, see here, it is the 16th, is the 18th today. You started on the 18th then of June, then you would, oh, that was interesting. That didn't happen in rehearsal. I didn't expect to end on the 18th of July, but it's exactly 1 month, a 1 month project, and that sounds kind of right for a company party. So that's how you can, estimate and then get serious and schedule and see how long this project's going to take. I, for one, really like it because I'm not great at the old-fashioned calendar and putting, like, some people put Post-it notes on a calendar and they try to track things that way. That's hard for me. So this works. This makes a lot of sense, this timeline. I want to talk a little bit about this area over here, this Gantt chart view over here. This is a linear calendar, and each week is represented up here. We've got, and each week starts on a Sunday, so we've got June 23rd, Sunday, June 30th, July 7th. Any white space that's here means it's a working day. We can schedule work on that day, all right? And then any of the gray columns, those are non-working days. So in the U.S., by default, most of us don't work on Saturday and Sunday. So those are non-working, okay? And you notice here we've got this rent and event space is 15 days. Well, if you actually counted these out, it wouldn't count the 15 days towards these gray days, these Saturdays and Sundays. So you've got 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 working days, just like it says over here, even though it spans, what's 15 plus 9, 24 days, right? So project allows for that. That's a very simple example of how project scheduling engine works. There's far more advanced things it does, but that's sort of one basic idea that it does. And one of the things that's helpful is that you can add your own non-working days for things. Like, for example, we have Independence Day coming up. That's on July 7th, or excuse me, July 4th. How could you forget that? I was looking up here at this July 7th. It caught my eye. So what you do is, if you want to allow for a non-working day like that, like a holiday, you go up here to the Project tab, okay? And then you click Change Working Time. And this dialog box is very similar. You've got the gray days, which mean non-working, and the white days, which mean working. And we're going to go to July 4th, and we're going to add an exception down here, okay? I'm going to type Independence Day. And then we're going to click OK. And when we do, check this out. It's going to add a gray bar here on July 4th. And then, can you guess what's going to happen in addition? These bars are going to bump out one day to allow for that non-working day, okay? So I'll go ahead and I'll click OK. And there you go. We've got a non-working day for July 4th. And it bumped out these bars here. So now we're ending not on the 18th, but on the 19th of July. So that's also helpful. I mean, maybe y'all go on vacation during the holidays too. You might want to build in some time, non-working time for that. Okay. And then finally, I just want to talk about a more realistic thing that happens. We're currently, let's say we told the boss, okay, on July 19th is when the party's going to happen, boss. So what do you think of that? And he says, nope, we need it to happen on the 17th. 17th is the anniversary of our company. It's got to happen on the 17th. There's no doubt about it. So the way you do that is, well, you make some changes over here on the right. You don't drag this down to the 17th. You actually, change your data over here. Maybe you bring back the scope. Which means maybe you don't hire a caterer. You don't rent fancy equipment, and you bring in the duration that way. Or you can say to the boss, hey, if you want it on the 17th, then if you can approve things in just one day, that will give us 2 days and we'll be able to actually make it realistically. So he agrees, and you bump these approval tasks down to 1 day. And again, our bars react, and now we've got the project happening on the 17th, okay, when he wanted it. So that wraps up our webinar today on getting started with project. That's just the tip of the iceberg, though. There's so much more to learn. Heather, our program manager, she's probably like, there is 1,000 more things to know. You can add resources to tasks. You can track your costs. You can track the completion of work. There's all sorts of